2000 Trees creates an extraordinary atmosphere where bands and fans resonate with unity and positive vibes. The independent festival attracts 15,000 people each year to the edge of the Cotswolds at Upcote Farm. With a lineup full to the brim with up-and-coming talent and well-known favourites, Trees provides the perfect getaway for punk and alternative music lovers all over. If you're making the journey to Cheltenham this year, stick around for our ultimate guide to 2000 Trees Festival. Situated between Cheltenham and Chedworth at Upcote Farm in Gloucestershire, 2000 Trees Festival 2024 takes place from Wednesday the 10th to Sunday the 14th of July, with the music on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday for 3-day ticket holders, and early entry ticket holders getting an extra afternoon of music on the Wednesday. Getting to 2000 Trees is fairly straightforward. If you're coming by car, you'll want to use car park gate D. You can use what 3 words to find this using spending.eruptions.thrones. From here, there will also be signposting for accessible and VIP parking as well, as these are slightly further into the site. If you have a camper van ticket, you'll want to look for gate B, which has the what 3 words sending.digs.producers. For people not coming in the car, there are options via train and coach. 2000 Trees has once again teamed up with Big Green Coach to offer services between London Victoria coach station and the site, as well as shuttle buses from Cheltenham Spa train station to the site as well. The coach service from London Victoria station and the shuttle bus service from Cheltenham Spa will run on the Wednesday and Thursday, with return travel on the Sunday morning. A lot of people that arrive into the train station might opt for getting a taxi instead, and often you can find other people that want to do this so that you can split the cost with them and make everything a bit more cost effective for everyone. For early bird Wednesday arrivals, the site is open from 12 midday, and for 3-day ticket or day ticket holders, the site will be open from 8 AM Wednesday through Saturday. Unfortunately, at the time of filming this, the official site map for 2024 hasn't been released yet. However, there don't tend to be many or any major changes to the site at Trees year on year, so we'll be using the one from last year, 2023, for reference. Not visible on this map is the general car park, which is just north of the access car park, which you can see here. There is a hill between the general parking and the festival gate, so if you're planning on bringing some form of trolley, I would recommend one of the 4-wheeled ones rather than the 2-wheeled ones that you drag, purely because you don't want all of your belongings to go tumbling down the hill. Trust me, I've seen it happen. On the left-hand side of the map, you've got general, accessible, and family camp. Family is almost always the furthest away from the arena, with access being the closest to the arena. Close by to the access car park and drop-off point, you'll find the camper van site, and not too far from the access camp, you will find the beach huts if you've booked one of those to stay in. I've stayed in general camping each year I've been to Trees, and despite it being split up into different camps, everything is so close by that it doesn't really matter where you pitch up. You'll see flags and signs around general camp indicating what each section is called. So you've got things like Camp Turner, Kev, Frabbit, Reuben, and Marwood. Is that it? Let me know if I've missed any. VIP camping is on the opposite side of the site, sort of wrapping around the lower end of the main arena where the main stage is. VIP parking is located here away from general and access parking, and here you will find space to self-pitch, so if you're bringing your own tent and camping gear, or this is also where the glamping and pre-pitch tents will be if you've upgraded to one of those. Within VIP, there are dedicated shower and toilet blocks, including accessible ones for any access customers that feel like giving VIP a go. There is also the addition of a sauna this year. I'm very intrigued to see how that goes down, but people seem excited for it already. VIP has its own entrance to the arena with a bar and a viewing platform for the main stage as well. Last year, there was a change to the process of getting into the festival, and it seemed to go quite well, so I imagine that they'll have retained that for this year. VIP ticket holders will pick up their wristbands and their VIP merch packs through the VIP entrance, which is separate to where the general gate is. Everyone else, including access customers, will enter through this main front gate. Last year, all we had to do here was flash our tickets to the staff, and they let us on through to general camping to begin setting up. Once we'd done this to get our wristbands, we went down to the entrance of the arena, which is where the festival reception is marked on the map. Here you will again show your tickets, but this time you will get a wristband which grants you entry into the arena for the duration of the time that you are at the festival, and you can now come and go as you please. The arena area is split in two, with a small road running between them. There are always stewards around this road as it's used for vendors and acts coming and going, so they always ensure that people can cross safely, particularly in peak times after the headliner and things like that. In the upper part of the arena, you have two tent stages, the Cave and the Axiom, as well as a variety of food vendors, the merch tent, the Silent Disco King tent, and the medical and wellbeing points. This will be the only part of the arena that is open on the Wednesday, so if you are an early bird ticket holder, only this upper part of the arena will be open to you. On the Thursday, the lower half of the arena will open. Here you will find a market of local and small businesses selling all sorts of things. Safe Gigs for Women is usually down there as well as small games stalls. There's a play area where some of the children and family activities will happen, as well as yoga and other health and wellbeing activities. In this section, you also have bars, food vendors, and stage-wise, you've got New, which is a tented stage, and the main stage, which is open air. Toilets and access platforms are also marked on the map, with every access platform having an accessible toilet attached to it, so you don't have to go very far and miss too much of an act if you do need the loo when you're using these platforms. You can use the Clash Finder to plan out your days for which bands you want to see, but as a general rule of thumb, there is only one act on each section of the arena at once. So for example, there will be acts on New and Cave at the same time, and then once they're done, there'll be acts on the Axiom and the main stage. However, the main arena isn't the only place where you can find music and other live entertainment across the weekend. Outside of the arena, running along the bottom end of general camping, you'll find vendors such as Frank Water, as well as the Word stage and the Forest. At the Word, you'll find comedians, quizzes, live podcasts, and all sorts going on throughout the day and into the evening. The Forest contains a bar and a stage, again with an accessible platform, which is where all of the acts and the silent disco will be on the Wednesday evening, and will also host bands across the weekend. Adjacent to this is the Forest School, which runs loads of activities for children and families throughout the day. Apparently, adults also like to use the instruments in the school by banging on them at 4 a.m. If that was you, please don't do that. After the bands are finished for each day, the party continues at 2000 Trees. You've got the silent disco, which will run across 2 stages into the early hours of the morning. You can find the lineup, which has recently been released on the social media for 2000 Trees. There is a £20 deposit, which you get back after the festival, and if you book online in advance, it's £6 to hire the headphones, so a total cost of £26, 20 of that you get back. You can also just get some when you arrive without having to pre-book, but this will come at a little bit of an extra cost, usually only by £1 or £2. Most of the camps, like Turner, Kev, etc., also have their own smaller camp stages. After the headliner finishes each night, these camp stages will host 2 or 3 acts for everyone to enjoy once the official music is finished. You can find the lineup for these on the 2000 Trees social media. The camps also have their own social media when you can check there for their lineups as well. It's pretty easy to spot these stages when you're looking around for somewhere to pitch, so if you are someone that prefers an earlier night and doesn't like to be disturbed as much with noise, I would recommend keeping an eye out for those stages and pitching away from them if you can. 2000 Trees is a very eco-conscious festival, and like a lot of others, practices leave no trace. There are refuse and recycling points all over Trees, so it is really easy to dispose of your waste responsibly. They also accept tents and camping gear at these points, and in previous years have been known to work with local charities in Cheltenham to distribute that gear to homeless people. You'll also find stalls from smaller vendors, charities, and smaller businesses selling clothing, camping gear, and essentials like fresh watermelon and cold cans of Coke. Unlike other festivals, Trees lets you bring your own drinks into the arena and isn't strict about how much alcohol you bring in general. A lot of festivals might have a limit of a crate of beer and 2 1-litre bottles of spirits, but Trees just say bring as much as you want, be responsible, but if you could do us a favour, buy a beer or 2 or a soft drink or 2 over the weekend from the bars, that would be really helpful. This just ensures that we keep a win-win situation where people can save a little bit of money by bringing more in, but also keep Trees the small and independent festival that we love. Just make sure that if you are bringing spirits on site, that although Trees is much more lenient than other festivals, there is still no glass allowed, so please make sure to decant these into plastic bottles either before you arrive on site or when you arrive on site. Through their partnership with Attitude is Everything, Trees really focuses on making the festival accessible for everybody. We've already touched on the viewing platforms, the accessible toilets, showers and camping, but there are a lot more things that can give you a hand if you're coming to Trees with additional needs. The medical tent isn't just for emergencies or acute illness. If you have medication that needs to be stored at a specific temperature, so refrigerated for example, they can provide those facilities for you there. I have a stoma bag, and every year I go to the medical tent in order to change it, and it has never once been a problem. It allows me to do so in private with a flat surface in a fairly sterile environment. I could do this in my tent, but I just feel much more comfortable doing this at the medical point. So if you do have any questions about this, just nip down to see them on your first day. That's what I usually do. If you need assistance with traveling to the site, such as booking accessible taxis or other transportation, Trees will be able to help you out with this as well. They also now provide both manual wheelchair hire and electric scooter hire, so you don't have to bring your own equipment if it will take up a lot of space or if you're concerned about damaging it. A lot of what you'd bring to a festival is either pretty self-explanatory or down to personal preference, but I've put together a list of things that I personally couldn't go without at Trees. Number 1, a fan. Specifically one with batteries, preferably rechargeable. When it's hot at Trees, it's hot. Unless there's a breeze, there isn't really anywhere for you to find shade unless it's under the tented stages or if you're lucky enough to have a gazebo in your camp. Number 2, in contrast to the fan, a hot water bottle and a way to heat water. Like when it gets hot, when Trees gets cold, it's cold, particularly in the evenings. And weirdly enough, if it's been hot in the day, I found it really handy and made me much more comfortable. This one might be a no-brainer, but some decent shoes. Trees isn't particularly hilly or particularly big, so you might not think that you'll do all that much walking, but because everything is so close, you'll find yourself toing and froing a lot from your camp, which could potentially do a number on your feet. Number 4 is fancy dress. So every year, Trees has a fancy dress event on the Saturday, and the theme always loosely rhymes with 2000 trees. So this year, we've got 2000 screams, so think horror, scary, spooky, Halloweeny. Our group personally have gone for a shit shirt exchange, which in itself is probably going to be terrifying. And lastly, number 5, bug spray. Throughout the rest of the year, Trees is a working farm, so it has a very healthy ecosystem of bugs for you to contend with when you're there. If, like me, you're not the biggest fan of them, then I recommend investing in a good bug spray. For me, I find that I'm particularly prone to being bitten, so I like to double up with a spray and those protective band things. That's all from me on your ultimate guide to 2000 trees. Leave a comment below and let us know who you're most excited to see, or let us know any handy tips or tricks that you might want to add on to ours. See ya!
Hi everyone, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. If you want to see something similar to this, then you can click on the link here. If you want to see something very different to this, then you can click on the link here. And if you haven't subscribed already and you want to, you can click on the link here. If you want to come and follow us on social media, you can click on the links in the description down below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.